is Patrick Hawe. I'm an associated member of T3 Trading Group, which is an SEC registered broker-dealer, and member of FINRA SIPC. All trades placed by myself are placed through T3 Trading Group. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your own financial conditions. Please pause the video and read that disclosure in full. Thank you very much. Okay, so quick disclosure. I have an electrician here doing some stuff that was supposed to be here this morning, but something happened with his scheduling, for whatever that's worth. So he's here now. He said he's going to have to cut the power off at some point. Hopefully. Yep, you know what? You guys can still hear me, right? Did you just see that? My light speed just exited out. So if I randomly cut off, that's why, and I apologize if that happens. So let me just try to do like a really quick overview here. If anyone has any quick questions as well, feel free to ask away, and we'll go from there. Okay, so market today, stronger than I thought it was going to be. We came in today gapping up to the 21 EMA, which we haven't touched since basically the Fed breakdown. We had the jobs number breakdown and then the Fed follow through breakdown on that. We pretty much traded up to that 21 yesterday, so we were actually gapping up a little bit above it this morning. The difference this morning was TLT was gapping down. It was gapping down almost to yesterday's open. It was a fairly decent gap down. So that was different than yesterday morning, where we walked in with a gap down in the market, but a gap up, a gap down in the market that would usually be caused by a gap down in TLT. That's what we've been seeing. Didn't see that yesterday. TLT actually gapped up. Then this morning we come in and it's the opposite of yesterday, which is the opposite of what we've been seeing. So this morning TLT was back to gapping down in a decent way, and the market was actually gapping up, which was pretty interesting and felt like maybe this market can't. To me, I was thinking the market couldn't really push too much higher in too much of an aggressive way with that TLT gap down. That being said, as you can see, that TLT gap down actually ended up trading pretty well and closing higher, so that definitely helped the market rally. And as you can see, TLT gap down, opens, some initial buying, trades lower for 3 bars in a row, and usually 3 bars in a row, once you get to 3+ bars in a row on your 5-minute chart, there's just a little caveat thing. When you're dealing with a gap and you're looking for a counter trend trade, and you have like a gap that's already extended because of the gap, and then you extend further, and you know, maybe you're looking for it to try and fill a gap right off the open. That doesn't work. It goes the opposite way. Usually 3+ in a row is pretty good for you to start looking the other way. Sometimes it's right away, so you know, it could be the 4th bar of the day. This was still 3 in a row, and then 4th bar bounce. But opens, tries to trade up, fails pretty hard, 3 bars in a row, and then totally and completely reverses and stabilizes well and ends up closing pretty decently. Broke yesterday's high there as well. So as a result, market opened, gapped up, looked like it might be trying to trade back down and maybe fill the gap, but by like 20-25 minutes in, it was looking more like a time correction, and that broke up, and what pursued after that took me a little bit by surprise, honestly. Just a little bit of shaking around, but we really pressed higher to the point where we got into a gap that we had been talking about the past couple of days as well. We were looking at that this morning. I was thinking we weren't really gonna, you know, this gap's probably gonna get filled at some point, but after past strong 2 days, is it possible to fill the gap? Yes. Is it something you want to bet on for sure happening? Not necessarily. But we almost filled it, certainly got into it from, this was the Fed day, I believe. It was jobs numbers started at first, and then Fed. and the gap was the Thursday after that initial Fed day. So that gap fills out like mid 438s. SPY got to low 437s, about $1 off or so, but pretty decent overall there. And then midday, we had a couple headlines, just further developments in the wrong direction from the whole Israel situation that we have going on now, which is also brand new. Pretty, not brand new, but as of this weekend, it's certainly escalating, and it seems to still be going in the wrong direction. Again, hopefully that resolves as quick as possible, but probably not resolving in a day. So this, which in the bigger picture, this isn't really that big of a deal. If anything, the market was getting a bit too just not even extended. I mean, we were just so bullish at that point, impressively. It just felt like we needed a bit more correcting there. And then, yeah, you could see that on the 30-minute chart, actually. That 15-minute had grinded out for a bit. That 30-minute was still super extended, though. And then, yeah, we get a couple midday headlines, shook us lower, looked like we were certainly breaking down a bit, obviously breaking the trend that these algos were riding all day. And then we did nothing. It was super, super tight, super boring afternoon. It was really just an algo headline or two that hit us lower, that broke some trends, stopped a bunch of people out, I'm sure. People that were riding that intraday trend. And that was it for the rest of the day. There wasn't too much going on this afternoon, really. Today is Tuesday, so today was also kind of a wait and see day for PPI and CPI tomorrow, which I suppose was another reason to think that we may be not trading too crazy today, waiting for PPI and CPI and Fed minutes tomorrow. At the same time, I also suppose it makes sense to see further squeezing into those numbers, just because shorts that are maybe banking on those numbers being bad or something and having us hit lower, if they just get, if they have to wait, and every day that they wait, they get squeezed in their face every day, that's painful for them, and we know the market likes to cause pain. So decent up move today from that. PPI at 8:30 tomorrow morning. CPI is Thursday. Usually it's CPI first, but sometimes with the holiday things change. Maybe that was it. But yeah, so PPI tomorrow morning. Fed minutes tomorrow afternoon. No rate decision or press conference. That's not till the November meeting. But definitely both of those could shake us around a bit for sure. And then obviously CPI Thursday, something to pay attention to as well. Trades today, Tesla 260 we talked about yesterday. We talked about that in the afternoon yesterday too, and how that ended up setting up decently for today. That was probably your better trade from this morning. I ended up missing it myself, unfortunately, but I think some of you guys caught that. But yeah, Tesla 260, decent. Gave a tail down. A lot of you guys found a lot of good inside days. I mean, today really was just growth. Well, you probably want to say growth for, what was squeezing, what caused that. It was basically just everything that hasn't rallied in the past 2 days with the market woke up today. So like this NVIDIA, okay. Not the best day ever for NVIDIA or anything like that, but NVIDIA inside day. A lot of you guys ended up finding a lot of good inside days from yesterday, and we were saying, well, on the one hand, market broke yesterday's high, traded, yesterday closed above Friday's high, is what I meant to say. So on the one hand, one could argue that something that made an inside day when the market was an outside day might be a little lethargic and have weakness. But on the other hand, those have more room to run, and it was the other hand today, so market just kept going, led by IWM. So there were a lot that some of you guys found this morning, and hopefully you made a little bit of money on it. I remember like Roku, inside day, DraftKings, inside day. I think Roblox was an inside day. A lot of them from yesterday, and most of them traded well this morning, even if they stopped you out later on in the day. Probably either made money or should have been able to make some money in those. So that's solid. Was that just a one-day kind of squeeze push for them? Final day of squeezing before we get these numbers. We'll see. It certainly looked like squeeze action in the morning when you see them kind of just trading straight up like that. That's definitely squeezy. Off like not really any news either. IWM finally hit the 21 there as well. You can see it tailed off it a little bit. But solid rally for everything that hasn't been rallying. Banks ended up rallying a little bit today too. Bank of America was getting stuck down there, but XLF a bit better. XLP not too bad today. Got some help from Pepsi as well. XLU also had better follow through. So yeah, just finally a broad rally day. Some of it, I'm sure, helped by some squeezes. And yeah, I think that's all I really got. Again, trying to keep this quick so I don't get cut off and I can answer anything that you guys want to talk about. So, yeah, happy to answer any questions or anything that anyone has. I'll go over and check the YouTube as well. Hopefully I didn't get cut off there. I think I'm still okay. That's weird. My Wi-Fi had gotten turned off for like 10 minutes before this too, but then it would come back on. Alright, let's see. Eddie wants to know what I think of shorting Netflix at this level. At 370. Well, first of all, ideally you shorted at some point this afternoon since it rolled over in a huge way. Netflix had an article from the information come out about their, I think what their like ad tier sales are not doing as well as they would like them to. So yeah, big rollover in Netflix this afternoon. Netflix has also been a weaker name. I remember like throughout these days, Apple was rallying pretty well. Nvidia was trying to rally decently. Tesla was definitely holding up pretty well. Netflix was probably, and Meta too. Meta actually up, I think, the most percentage out of all of them. And Netflix just couldn't really break higher. It actually had something about, I think, raising prices on this day where it had a huge move up and rolled the entire thing over, which is just terrible, terrible action. Any other time, Netflix, at any time Netflix raises prices, usually you can day trade that, even if I guess they do end up rolling it over. So yeah, have that article come out. Make sure to check that out. Overall, technically, I can't say I don't like your trade because you're in a downtrend and you're pivoting today off a spot that makes sense to pivot off. It's a pretty big candle. At the same time, too, I like it also because the market squeezed again today for a third day in a row. So, the more pain over there, the more exhausted shorts are going to get, the more they're going to quit and not try. So the more likely it should somewhat work for you anyway. It is a big spot at the 200 day here. I would say 380 is fair. One should argue today's high, but you have the 80 MA below 380, and that's probably going to be lower after the close today. So I would say 380. Otherwise, 383. Just today's high is a little too much, but either 380 or like 382 to 383 to use as an out. Don't hate it. In fact, I kind of like the idea, especially after the article today. You just got to give it the proper room, but technically it looks fun. talking about short vol credit on UNH. Does that have earnings come up? Not seeing anything on YouTube. Anyone else have anything? Yeah, I'm getting shut off. I just got a text. I'm getting this shut off in 5 minutes. I traded NVIDIA this morning, Nick. I bought some. I'd gotten a little bit of it sold, but I was trying to be greedy, looking for the bigger move. It had come back down. It was on that first candle, or no, sorry, not first candle. Basically, I made a little, but not enough. This candle. And then it came right back down after, and I sold like a tiniest little bit here, but nothing special. I got shaken out on it and didn't try it, didn't end up really pushing it again there. I had a pretty busy morning covering some other stuff too as well, just like some back end stuff, so wasn't overly aggressive with it. I also didn't plan to be overly aggressive to the long side with the market. Just because it's not always the best, history will probably show you that being overly aggressive to the long side on a day 3 after 2 big up days, it doesn't always work well. It definitely can sometimes, but you gotta be careful with that. So, and then I missed Tesla because I was like messing with the NVIDIA. And by that time, Tesla was just a little too high for me, so. I definitely could have done better today, to say the least, but that's fine. It was a good, the past 2 days were, actually the past like 3 to 4 days were decent, I'd have to say, so I'm not unhappy. DAL and UAL, the war news doesn't help. Higher oil prices obviously doesn't help. I saw they were kind of chalking up the cruise liner weakness yesterday to the oil prices as well, but that's obviously being caused by this whole new fiasco that we're dealing with. Overall, usually I really only like these airlines for a trade. That's what most people will tell you. You can trade them, but anything more than a trade, you gotta be careful because they're pretty hard. Krista has been like DAL too. I guess if I had to go with one, it'd probably be DAL. That. I don't know, Eddie. I mean, I would wait for those to set up better, I think, if you want me to be honest. I don't hate the idea just because they're down so much, but I would wait for like a base and a level to buy high to sell higher. Because now I'm looking at it, I mean, you had a lot of big rallies today. These airlines did not rally very well, so they still have relative weakness. So honestly, Eddie, I'd probably wait. Maybe you could start really, really small if you feel the need, but otherwise, they kind of look relatively weak still. It's better than losing money, Lath. What do I think of that M phase? I think solars are extremely hard as well, and they've been getting annihilated. I guess with the move up in interest rates and everything. I know some people that seem to really like this M phase, and it's probably one of like the quote unquote better ones out there. I don't. I think this thing needs more time too. This thing needs to get back in like an uptrend or something. You got to be super, super careful with that. It kind of, this chart almost, oops, what I just did. They just were so hot for so long, and this end phase was so hot for so long, and it's just, it's all the way back down here. It really shouldn't be. It almost reminds me of Teladoc in a way. And I don't think that M phase is going to do that, and I don't think the solar names are going to do that per se, but it kind of reminds me of Teladoc when it was like back here. And I remember looking at it in the low 100s and being like, man, this seems like, you know, a pretty good opportunity. It's decently off highs. You know, it probably should work its way back up, and it just kept dying and dying and dying. I'm not saying M phase is going to do that, but it's just, it's off so much. I don't know, there's a lot of trap money in that thing. So if it sets up one day like it kind of did today with the inside day yesterday, which a lot of names did, yeah, that's fine. You can take your trades, take your couple day trades. Anything longer than that I think is pretty hard though. Still see nothing on YouTube. Yeah, that definitely be careful with it. Know your always know your worst case scenario. Know you're out or know where you're gonna add. I've seen people get hurt on these types of names. Beyond Meat was one too. That I remember seeing people get hurt on when it was like probably around here or something, you know, in this whole consolidation, and you know, it's below 100, seems like good, you know, seems like it's good, and I doubt M phase is like that. M phase is real, but at the same time, 340 to 120 is a little bit too much. There's a lot of damage being done, so probably a lot of trap money not gonna spring back up in a super easy and fast way. Alright, looks like I got through everything. I think I'm gonna get cut off any second anyway here, so I'm gonna call it a little bit early. Decent day today, day 3 up. Bit mixed action there. PPI tomorrow morning, so we'll see what PPI brings us. Probably not going to be looking for upside on the PPI though, and if we get decent enough upside, might be looking at some cute shorts tomorrow. But otherwise, probably should be careful with the immediate upside tomorrow. Maybe the side of VM can be strong again, but we'll see. We'll start with PPI at 8:30 tomorrow morning. So have a good night, everybody. See you guys fresh and early, 8:30. Definitely before 8:30, but PPI tomorrow morning. See you guys there.